Dr. Azar, good morning. My first question to you is, how adorable are those girls?
I know. I know, and I can't say that I was surprised that their parents were both doctors.
So actually, that's the first thing that I want to ask you about, is just kind of put in context here, parents that are putting their children in these trials. Obviously, it's doing a huge service to this country, to the world, to figure out if this is safe in children. But just kind of talk to us here about the fact that these kids are in it and that it is safe so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as Tom pointed out, there's a few different approaches to doing clinical trials for vaccines in kids. Number one, dosing is really, really important. You're not going to give the same dose to a 6-month-old child as you are to, let's say, a 12-year-old. Look, where we are with Pfizer right now, they have requested an amendment to their EUA to include kids between the ages of 12 and 15 based on the data that they released to us at the end of March, which showed really good safety tolerability as well as efficacy. Each stage along the way takes a little time. You can think of it in twos. It takes about, 2 months for the clinical trial, 2 to 3 months for them to get the safety tolerability and immunogenicity data. And then the FDA wants to see about 2 months of safety data after that. And then once an EUA is applied for, the FDA is going to take about 2 to 4 weeks. So we're kind of in the middle of the process with Pfizer to see whether or not the kids between the ages of 12 and 15 get the green light. And as Tom mentioned, the younger kids, it just takes time. I think we're looking more towards, first quarter of 2022 for those age groups.
So, Dr. Azar, that's actually the next question I wanted to ask you, because, of course, the big question with kids is getting them back into the classroom. But also, as Tom mentioned in his piece, it's about us reaching herd immunity, getting to that about 80% or so number of vaccinations needs to include this part of our population. So do you think that that could mean that kids could safely and pretty normally be back in school then? Would that be the beginning of next year?
Yeah, look, I think for this fall, we're really looking at the teens and the preteens. I think that that's very realistic. I'm optimistic that age group will be getting vaccinated, hopefully by the end of summer. As I mentioned, you have to do this very systematically and very, very carefully. We are, vaccinating young, ostensibly healthy children. But the good news is, Savannah, is that it does not require the tens of thousands of participants that we do in adults. Rather, it's a much smaller number. A few thousand children need to be evaluated in each age group. We're not looking at endpoints such as hospitalization or death. We're really looking at, their immune response that they can check in the blood tests, and of course, looking at cases of symptomatic COVID.
Now, Doctor, let's talk about the big hearing today on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. First of all, I'm sure you are sick of talking to me about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because, as you know, and our viewers may know, I received that shot a few days before the pause and have had Dr. Azar on speed dial because of that, who's been fantastic. And I'm very calm given her guidance and advice. But now the CDC could decide to clear the vaccine for use after these rare blood clots. But do you think that it will come with a warning label if they do clear it, similar to what Europe is doing?
Yeah, actually, and I was going to reference what the EMA did. They, in fact, have green lit the vaccine again for use in Europe, with the caveat that there is this association in all likelihood with these rare clots, and that full consent and awareness needs to be there. But they state, and I agree with this, that the benefits far outweigh that potential risk. I'm sure everyone is aware of Dr. Offit. He's a member of the FDA's independent advisory panel. And I think he sort of summed it up like this. If you take 1 million people who get COVID, 5,000 of those people are going to die, as opposed to potentially 1 person out of 1 million who might experience this rare event. So we really have to think about doing no harm. And I think withdrawing the vaccine for vulnerable populations would be absolutely doing more harm than good.
Dr. Azar, that is such a great way to put it in context. Thank you for joining us here and for taking my many phone calls. You're the best. See you soon.
Take care.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.